Hello, hello, hello. What is up, Master Chat family, Facebook family, Twitter family, YouTube channel, Twitch family? I am waiting to see. I'm trying to see if I can get Chris connected here or not. I may have someone else that's going to join me here. So do me a favor, say hi. I'm lonely right now. I'm all by myself. So do me a favor, say hi in the comments. Let me know what you thought of the chat tonight. Interested to hear your thoughts. It was a fast one. We were trending really early, and we were trending for most of the chat, which is always awesome. What's up, Kaplan? Good to see you, brother. You totally beat me to the my name is Jeff tonight very quickly to it. So well done there. Hello, Brianna. How are you? Trying to get my my other screen. I got my other. So I always set up my other screen here, and I log into our Facebook group so that I can try and see your names. So if you ever see me looking over this way, that's what I'm doing. I got a bigger screen up there. So I'm looking over there. So I'm seeing, oh, I'm loving it. What's up, Kate? And Brianna's in here. Who said hola? Teresa, good to see you. Brian, always awesome to see you, sir. What else we got here? Is that Van Scott? Good to see you, sir. Katie, always jumping in. Sammy, I can't believe it was your first chat. You said it was your first mastery chat tonight. I need to know how that happened. You've been connected to us for so long. Is it because I think you do more on Instagram than you do on Twitter typically? So maybe that's what it is. I'm not sure. It was definitely relevant. Yeah, Jeff, I thought it was a really great topic. Chris laid out some really great questions for us tonight, I thought. So really cool. Good to see you, Carly. Brian, you missed the chat, but you're still here. You know what I loved about you, Brian, is you missed the chat, but you're still here live with us. You know, and your frame on your picture looks great, brother. Okay, Jillian, good to see you. Nikki, always awesome to see you. Ooh, a tornado watch. I hope are you out of the watch? Is everybody safe? Hopefully. Teach better. Oh, what'd you get? Oh, Carly, you gonna unbox tomorrow? I totally need to know what you got. Let us know what you got. I want to hear it. So. Little behind and nervous. It's okay. You're here now. You're here now, Sammy. Jeff, you want to come live? Jeff, I'm gonna DM you real quick. We may have multiple people. We'll see what happens. So I got you in there now. We'll bring Jeff live here with us. Danielle, good to see you. Danielle says she's so hooked on the master chat tonight that she forgot to make dinner. I guess it's cereal tonight. I like that. I like your backup as cereal. That's good. That's good to go. So let's see. I love the topic though. Yeah, great topic. Really good stuff. No tornado for Nikki. That's great. Becky. That's how I read that. So good to see you, Becky. Good to see all of you. I love how many people jump on here and chat about this. So I'd love to see in the comments what was the question that maybe that sparked the most thought process, or maybe that generated the answers, the comments that really excited you, or maybe where you grabbed something and learned something that you hadn't had before. I'd love to hear what questions that Chris had laid out that were the ones that you really enjoyed the most. Just comment, let me know. We'll put them up there. Kaplan, check your Twitter DMs, brother. I'm gonna see if I can't get Jeff in here with me. I'm looking down just to see if Chris was able to connect or not. Not sure. So we're gonna figure it out though. So anyway, great to see you guys. So I think this was a really cool, relevant chat because of the fact that video can play such a important role in helping us facilitate the distance learning, right? And the delivery of content. You know, videos as a way that we often not necessarily recommend or we mention as an option for delivery of content in our we're working with teachers who are utilizing mastery-based, self-paced learning in their classroom, and they need to be able to deliver content without them being the one, standing at the front of the room. So, videos can do that, whether that's you recording videos and lessons that they do or finding the right one. So I think this was a really cool, really relevant topic. So I was excited to see that. So I'm waiting to see comments in here about the questions that stood out. I'm not sure if you guys are commenting, it's not coming through fast enough or not, but otherwise y'all need to start commenting a little bit more. I'm here by myself. I'm looking for you. Waiting to see. Kaplan's working on it. If anybody else wants to jump in, I could fit a few people in here. We can have we'll do a whole chat again right here. So if anybody else wants to jump in, let me know. I'll shoot you, or actually just DM me on Twitter right now if you want to get in. We'll get you in. So anyway, quick question. I'm curious. Oh, here we go. I thought the question on follow up with video was really important to encourage active processing. Yes, I think so. I think it's a great way to look at that as well. Yeah, I agree. Definitely relevant, timely, great chat. Let's go through. Hey, Jillian, that's a great one. Here we go, Jillian. Let me see. Where's the one about the follow up? Let's see. Where was it at? I'm trying to think of where that question was. So some of the questions were, like what makes a video an effective teaching tool? Is it the length, the humor, the visuals? What is it? Question 4 was videos can be a passive way to obtain information. What strategies do you use to get your students engaged with what is being presented to them? So those are just sort of some of the topics some of the questions that were brought up there. Yeah, I agree, Sam. I think there was a lot of cool examples of different ways to utilize videos and where they go to get them, what they work on, and why they use videos and why they choose the certain videos that they have. So, Dave Schmidt all week using Edpuzzle. I love it. Yeah, that's a great one. We see that one used all over the place. It's a great tool to be utilizing as well. Carly, I had a feeling that was going to spark with you too because it sparked those conversations. I saw a couple of those talking about the multilingual learners and stuff. I think is really important as well. Brianna saying question 6 about creating your own videos. It was nice to see you're not the only one who records the videos 100 times. I assure you, you're not the only one who does that, Brianna. I think it's important to get to where you don't need to do that. Not because, obviously you'll go better over time, but I think get into the point where you can feel comfortable with allowing your students to see your mistakes, to see your mess ups and see that human side and be okay with that, I think is important as well. But putting yourself on there and allow your face to be on there and your voice, I think is really, really important too. So Jeff, I see you in here, but I can't see you. I'm not sure if your camera's not on yet or not. Oh, there he is. I'm getting Kaplan in here. Hey, give me a thumbs up when you're ready, brother. All right, he's in here. Let me get him in here. Boom. What's up, sir?
How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good.
Everybody's jumping in and answering my questions in the comments. So, I don't even need you now. You're good.
All right, I'm going to go then.
No, you're good. Good to see you, man. How you holding up? How's everything going down there?
Oh, it's going good. This topic was so relevant tonight because my district just decided today to go virtual.
So you go on? Is it just for the entire first half of the year, or all year, or what's the time frame that you guys are doing that for sure?
They haven't given us that yet, but
okay.
Other districts around us are going for the first quarter.
Okay, the first quarter. Gotcha. Yeah.
And then reassess.
Gotcha. Okay. We've seen some of that. I like that most schools that are deciding to go virtual are setting a decent time frame so that so I think one of my worries was that we were going to try and go back and then have to shift back right away, or we're going to say only virtual for 2 weeks and then it's just this shift and move. And so just letting it and saying, hey, we're going to be virtual for a while. We're going to see how things pan out. Hopefully we break the curve and get cases down and then we can come back safely. So I think that's good to know. So I'm way behind on comments. I apologize, everyone. I'm going to bring in, we're going to do a dynamic duo there, which makes us a dangerous trio. Hi, Livia. How are you?
Hey. Great. How are you?
Look at that. I asked for help. I get 2. How great is that? Now Becky wants to. Becky, do you still want the link? She was trying to help out too. In. People are so awesome.
Let me I love Becky so much.
Where's Becky at? Let me hold on. You guys talk. Be smart and funny and awesome, and I'm gonna get Becky in here.
Jeff, how comfortable are you in front of a camera?
Me? Not very. Oh, Jeff does.
Yeah, sorry. You're busy with Becky.
I tell you to talk, and then I reply to you because I'm not.
That's okay.
Go ahead, Kaplan. You're up, man.
I'm not very comfortable in front of the camera. How are you, Olivia?
No, same. The first time I did a welcome video for my students, I had I think 95 or 97 short videos before I turned it into this one video, and I thought I can't keep doing this. It's insane. But I think it's more perfectionism. And after that, I think I actually had a contest for my students. And I said, guess how many takes I needed to take in order to create this video? And they were guessing things like 5, 11. I said, keep going, keep going. And at the end, nobody was really close. But my next one, so then I had another contest. And they were guessing high numbers because of the first one. And I think I only took 2 takes. So it made a difference.
That's a great way to engage your students and to let them interact with you and to get to know you. That's awesome.
That learning they get to see you go through a learning process, right? And get that. So let me ask you, Olivia, when you did that, was the second time because you just were suddenly so much more comfortable and you just did it better, or because you relaxed and you weren't as worried about the potential judgment that your students were going to have on you?
I think it was both, but I think also it was one of the sessions that I was in with Ray, how she says that, she does the videos for her kids. And she reminded me that it's okay because in the class I make mistakes too. And so that kind of just gave me permission to make mistakes and to pause and to fumble my words, because that's what they're used to. And it was just that change in mindset, I think. And it just made such a big difference.
Yeah, I agree, and I think we've talked about it a little bit here. We mentioned like it's really actually really important, a great thing for them to see you make those mistakes, and it's like you just said, like some of the when you fumble on words, you say ums and stuff like that. Like if that's how you normally speak, that's how they know you. So if the video isn't that, it's no longer really you, right? It's just like an animated version of you. And I think it's important for them to have that, even more so now in this remote world that we're living in, where they don't get you as live as often and stuff too. I think is really important. So
and even in my video, I talked about having a growth mindset and how I was not very comfortable doing this, and we're just modeling that too. That we're pushing ourselves outside of our comfort zone, and it's okay to make mistakes, and it's okay to be human. Right?
Absolutely. All right. I hope everyone's sitting down, because I'm about to bring the awesomeness to a whole new level at this point. So bringing in Becky. Becky.
It's a Teach Better party.
This is like, I was all like, oh man, I can't get Chris in, and I'm going to be all alone, and I don't know anything. And now look what I got. How did that work out?
Wow.
It's really shame, because
there, Jeff Gargan.
If I can get Chris, we're going to still get him in, because we had Chris on our podcast, and the dude is brilliant. So creative in what he's doing with his class, with the teachers and students he works with his community and stuff like that. He's a really brilliant dude. I was really happy to have him. It was a while back that we had him on a podcast. So like when you see him come through on the master chat schedule, and you're like, oh yeah, Chris, that's right. Like he was great.
Yeah,
so
my big question for him is, how did you go? He says, ask any question. I'm like, how did you go from being a science teacher to a host and a producer?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Well, he's connected because he's connected, and he works with the college and stuff too. But then, like, I'm interested to talk to him about the program that he has going on, how COVID has affected. Because like they go out and they work with scientists all through the Cincinnati area and all through the Southwest Ohio and stuff, which is, I assume, has been affected by stay-at-home orders and things of that nature. So Brian, I think, just hit everything right on the dot when he says Livia is everywhere.
She is.
Yes, she is.
Well, like I said, you put something on, I'm happy to be there.
I know, and we love you for that. So,
I love you guys.
I'm loving all the comments, by the way. I'm trying to keep up with the comments, but I got people here, and like sometimes I don't pay attention right. I'm like, man, there's just people everywhere. I love it. So Becky, give me your thoughts on the chat tonight. What were there any questions one of the questions that I posed, when people were chatting in the chat about is, were there any of the questions that kind of stood out to you as like something that either sparked a really interesting idea in you, or that maybe sparked conversations that really like gave you value tonight?
Well, I think the first question was, for me, it brought back a lot of memories. And then when I posted a picture of that VCR cart, now I'm really dating myself, right? The VCR cart. So the VCR cart rolling into the classroom, and that meant either your teacher was going to a meeting or there was a substitute. But you were super excited about that. I mean, you were like, this is going to be the best day in school ever.
Didn't matter what was going to be on the TV. Like,
right. And so, and I saw a lot of people said that they equated that with, it was a reward. It was if you were well behaved or you did what you were supposed to, you got to watch a video. And we've gotten so far away from that, for a variety of reasons, and rightfully so. I mean, other people posted, which I thought was true too. They're like, oh my God, every time I saw that, it was some boring science or social studies video. And that's the truth too. I mean, and I teach science, and Jeff, I know that you teach social studies, right?
Yeah.
And Livia, what do you teach?
I teach last year I taught 3-4. I'm moving to grade 5, so I teach everything.
So you teach everything, right? So you remember back to when you were in school, and Jeff Gargish, you too, and it was like that. That is a lot of the time what you equated with. I mean, some people were excited because they said, "Oh, I remember the Magic School Bus." I think that was the turning point. That's when videos started to get a little more engaging and a little more entertaining. And now for me, for teaching science, we have there's a lot of different options. And I actually said to Chris Anderson, I said, I envision that you can really take off with this, and you could be, we think of Bill Nye, but there's several newer faces of science videos, and there's, Jeff, there's another Jeff of Whitaker, and he does Generation Genius videos, which are great for science. And
Doug.
There's also Mystery Doug. Yeah, there's Mystery Doug, and he's really cool too. So.
Hey, we got Chris on.
Yes.
Can you hear us all right?
Oh, yeah.
All right, good. We can hear you too. We got a whole crew here for you now, man. We're just talking about how awesome your chat was tonight.
After party.
Appreciate you leading us tonight. I thought the questions were great. What we've had, just comment after comment, is that they were relevant, they were timely, they were just valuable. The conversations came out. So how are you feeling right now after the chat, man?
Thirsty, but I feel pretty good. That was good. It's it's a little like if you have any sort of attention thing, like very like your brain's like, oh, this is great. There's all this stimulation, but then like you're never gonna go to sleep. But no, it was good. It was a great idea. I think it's just a really great way for teachers, especially now. Not just in the summer, but like, in the era that we're living in, just to connect with each other and share ideas. That's I think that's super important. So it was a ton of fun. It was a ton of fun to come up with the questions. It was a ton of fun to hear everybody's response. So yeah, it was great. Thanks for having me host.
Awesome. Do you know Jeff and Livia and Becky?
I do now.
You do now. I love it. So Chris, we do have some people that are watching that weren't able to get into the chat and honestly, these three maybe don't know you. Maybe they weren't connected with you before. Maybe not as connected. Can you give us sort of the 30-second, 1 minute? Who is Chris Anderson, real quick?
Yeah, sure can. So I taught science for a number of years, and then I kind of transitioned to like another program manager role, but I still wanted to do more science things, so I started writing a blog. And I was okay, but I wasn't a very fast writer. I'm a good, decent enough writer, but I wasn't a fast writer. But I wanted to do more visual projects, visual science stuff. I thought that played more to my strengths. So I kind of pivoted to that, and I just met some really great people. And we kind of had this idea to focus on local scientists, and that's kind of what we do. So the idea of Science Around Cincy is that it's a science TV show. It's on the web. It's going to be on broadcast here in the next few months, but it's a science TV show that focuses on the work that scientists, engineers, researchers in our area do, and it's a way to teach kids science. And it's a way to get kids exposed to different careers in science. I think that's the big thing, is that a lot of kids don't know what a scientist looks like. They think there's some like crusty old person who sits in a lab coat somewhere and like pours things into other things. And that's not really what a scientist does. They're out in the field, they're out doing things, So like one of our very first episode was us looking at frogs that are, wood frogs, tree frogs in North America. They freeze solid. That's their adaptation to get through the winter. And this researcher was learning how they do that. And so we got to go out frogging, and like I held a frozen frog, and like, just that sort of thing that like kids don't think about. They're like, oh, yeah, they're scientists, but yeah, they're out tromping through the Kentucky wetlands at like 9 p.m. in the middle of the summer. looking for frogs. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We just actually filmed today. We were at the University of Cincinnati power plant. They generate like enough power for all campus and then like most of the hospitals in the area and a lot of the research facilities. So it's crazy how much electricity they're able to use, and they do it really efficiently. So this is all episodes we're gonna share in the fall. So we're doing season 2, and it's a lot of fun.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Brianna, I don't know how you don't know about this either. We had him on the podcast. It was an awesome episode.
Yeah.
You should be doing that. She's gonna make sure you reach out to him, Brianna, and get that, and make sure you get everything you need. So I want to turn it to Jeff or Olivia or Becky. If any of you, do you have someone mentioned I think they had a question for Chris. Do you guys have any questions for like Chris on that? I want to open up. I don't want to be the only one talking and asking stuff, but we got him here. We just had an awesome chat. We were trending in the United States again. We trended early and long, which we trend most weeks. But a lot of times it's just, that first pop, a lot of times it trails off a little bit. We held on for a long time tonight, which is always a great sign. It means there was a lot of those break off conversations going and stuff. So anything you guys want to throw them? Otherwise, I'll continue to ask because I just feel like the three of you are kind of chilling out.
He did answer, kind of my question, which was how did you go from being a science teacher to a producer and host? But then my other question for you was, what is your favorite science topic?
Favorite science topic?
I
don't know. I really like learning about evolution. It was one of my favorite things to teach. I've read like 3 books on just like human evolution alone. And I also like geology. Like the first trip my wife and I went on, but when we were dating, was to we were backpacking in the Rocky Mountains, and we spent a day in Denver, and we went to the Denver Science Museum, and I got stuck in this eddy in the like gemstone, like crystal area. Like we didn't even make it to the dinosaurs because I was like, she's like, hey, I'm getting kind of hungry, and like she's a science person too, so it's not like she isn't interested in that. Right. It was just like, wow, you really like rocks, huh? But I mean, like being a teacher, teaching is a performance art, right?
Yeah.
Like you guys all know that. There is so much of a live show feel to your classroom, right? Like you've got to know what you're going to say. You're going to have different segments. Right. Like, it's almost like it's like a Second City, skit. Yeah. It's going to be a little bit different each time. You might have some similar topics, but it's going to have a different feel, and you do like 5 shows a day. So yeah, you're exhausted, right, at the end of the day. But so I think that like you bring a lot of that, and being a producer, it's really just about organizing people and organizing tasks, and like that is a lot of what being a teacher is all about.
That's true.
So that's people I'd have asked me that before, like how did you go from that? Like it's actually a pretty natural transition to being a producer from teaching, because you're doing a lot of the same stuff.
Have you thought about expanding outside of Cincinnati, right? Have you thought about expanding outside of that?
Yeah. So one of the things we want to do is start doing more videos in our national parks. That's kind of like our next step, is to use our national parks as a teaching tool. Plus, it'll allow us to expand the scientists that we get a chance to talk to. Which is really great. So that obviously is not going to happen this year. So we're hoping we get a chance to do that late in the spring. But that's kind of where we want to go with that, is to use our national parks as a way to teach kids about science. Plus, then you're teaching kids like conservation and the value of preserving that land, and hopefully those kids then grow up and want to preserve not just those national parks, but even more land and restore more of our habitats.
You make a great point. Here in Canada, I don't know if it's in the States as well, but place-based learning is really gaining a lot of momentum. Is it the same in the States? I'm from Canada.
Well, I don't know if it's gaining the same momentum, but I think it's starting to become more well known within education circles. So I mean, think of flipped classrooms. Like now they're well known, but like they've kind of been this like niche thing in education. Like a lot of teachers were really, really passionate about it and they did it really well, but like 95% of teachers weren't really doing it. They're probably aware of it, but didn't know it. So,
Chris, you've been officially invited on the Teach Better tour bus that may or may not be a food truck as well. It's a long running joke that I don't think everyone. I'm not sure if they think I'm joking or if they know that I'm going to make it happen someday. I don't know. Jeff, did you have a question? I got one from I want to throw at Chris from the comments, but you want to go first?
Well, I got a comment to Chris. You said you loved going to Denver. I have a really good connection up in Estes Park, which is where Rocky Mountain National Park is.
yeah.
I worked at a camp up there who the family that actually started the camp, it's in the 4th generation now, started at Bear Lake. And then moved when they saw 3 to 4 cars coming. So I have connections all around that. If you need connections up there,
connection happen after this. So that
we need to connect.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Chris, someone asked, "Are you in higher level curriculum development?"
So my day job, I have been an instructional coach, working with the Hamilton County ESC for like the last 4 years. This is my 5th year now, and we work specifically with Cincinnati Public Schools. So in that capacity, I've done a couple things. I've done a lot of teacher coaching, like some curriculum development, that sort of thing. But I wouldn't say I'm in higher ed curriculum development. I've done some things on the state curriculum level. Like I helped with the model curriculum when they updated the Ohio standards a year or two ago. So I think that's a good question, because I think I have a pretty good idea of science curriculum writ large. So it kind of helps me see what concepts we really need to hit on. So, for example, I was talking to a researcher this morning. We're kind of getting her set up for her episode filming, and she researches lake ecology. So she looks at a number of different factors, but she really looks at the food web and how land use practices change the food web. Now that's a pretty hard concept, especially for like a middle schooler to understand. So like, okay, out of all of those things, what is an idea we need to communicate to kids? Like, all right, well, it's food webs and trophic levels. So we're going to focus on how she measures those things. Like, and then like the ancillary bit is like, okay, this is how the land use practices can influence those. So like starting with the idea of, you got producers, primary consumers, secondary consumers, tertiary consumers, and then how those kind of influence each other. Because it's a complicated thing, and it's even complicated I was like looking through her research papers, like this is hard to visualize how all these things interact, and like when one's going up, one's going down. That's having a good understanding of curriculum has really, really helped me. But that's just, basic job experience and some other opportunities I've had.
That sounded higher level to me. I don't know. So let me ask you this, Chris. As you were back to like the chat questions and stuff, when you were putting these questions together, were there any of the questions that that you particularly maybe were excited to see the responses to, or whether the words excited or just interested to see what the response was? Which one was that? Can you recall?
For sure. The second to last question I was really interested in, because I wanted to see how other teachers have created their own content. Because it's not easy. It's not easy to put a video together, it's digestible for kids, quickly, right? And it takes a little bit to get good at. Like I've done multiple video projects up until I started Science Around Cincy, and you learn, right? Like even like a 60 or 90-second thing, like it can be a lot of work if you're filming and editing and writing. Like the whole process can take a really long time.
Do you have any tips for us then, Chris?
I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
Tips for us, or us newbies?
Yeah, I think I mentioned a couple times in the chat. So like number one, like make sure your sound's on point. That is it can be a huge distraction for kids if it's not. I filmed in Cuyahoga Valley National Park, and we were like by a waterfall, and like you could barely to me. And then like we went to another part and it was like dead silent because it was like next to the cliffs and like it blocked all the wind and like it comes off as very amateurish, and it can be distracting for, like I said, for the kids. So when you do film, like have a decent mic, find a spot where you're not going to hear the air conditioning, like the sound, the acoustics aren't going to be too wonky. Obviously, you're not going to do it in the bathroom or like in the kitchen or anything like that. So that's one. I don't write a script. We have an outline that kind of runs down all our talking points for each scene. And that is good because it kind of gives me like what my line of questioning needs to be. So having that plotted out ahead of time is really, really helpful. And then I practice in front of the mirror. Like I have to kind of see how I'm reacting to things. Like it's just, it's basic rehearsal almost, right? Like I even remember when I was in high school, I did drama class in high school and drama club. And I would like a big part of learning my lines wasn't just learning them because you got to know them. Right. And then you got to like know how to say them. But like learn, like don't try to write yourself lines. Like that's going to be a waste of time. You're going to like obsess over like all the different words, and that's not worth your time. And then you're going to have to try to remember them all, and that's certainly not worth your time. So just like have your outline and then practice what you're going to say.
Good tips.
Yeah. So Livy, if you think about it, doing 100 takes, that's a lot of practice too. So you're on there.
Yeah.
She was talking before you came on, Chris. The first time she did it, she had to do, how many did you do? You did like 90 little videos.
It was 95 or 97 takes.
Second time she was much more comfortable, so it was different. But
yeah,
I was doing a Teach Better video this week, and I was getting myself so frustrated. I had to keep doing a take.
Well, I'm taking tips right now because I owe Ray a video tomorrow. I got to get done.
That's the video I was doing, Jeff. And I actually.
Which, by the way, I've put it off until tomorrow, and it's due tomorrow to Ray. So.
Oh, well, then you're right into video production.
I'm right on, right? Yeah. So, totally get that. Chris Van Scott's asking, do you find the understanding of nature of science methodology is a challenge to most middle schoolers in your experience? Yes.
Heck yeah. I mean, it's a challenge for most high schoolers. If you think about it, it's kind of how we set up teaching science, right? Like we've taught science in our schools as like a set of facts. And there's a couple reasons for that. Most people who are good in science or math generally don't go into teaching. They go into a private field because you can make like twice the paycheck, on the first day of work, right?
What?
Yeah.
Why did anybody tell Jeff that?
Right. Yeah, surprise.
I'm back now.
Yeah. So, it's too late for us now. We're
way too late for me.
Yeah. I'm already like, there's a run out the clock situation. So that's like, I think the first thing, and we don't teach our kids like how to, like the idea of science, right? Like we don't think there's any time for that. And my philosophy when I was in the classroom, like I would rather cover 75% of what we're supposed to do and have them know it, than get through everything. And then like, they're like, oh yeah, I kind of remember. Like, no, we're going to take your time, like learn how to test something. Okay. What happens if I put more baking soda in this solution with my water plant? Like, is it going to create more oxygen bubbles? Is it going to create less? Like, you got to go through that process. So, and I think the other thing is a lot of middle school teachers are elementary teachers, and I love my elementary teachers, but they're not, they got into teaching to teach kids. A lot of high school science teachers went to teaching because they like teaching science.
Yeah.
A huge difference, right? So those science teachers, like they want to know science, they read about science, they watch science TV shows, like that. Science is their thing. And so they have a much deeper breadth of knowledge, but they're not that strong in pedagogy. So you kind of get that like very top down sort of instruction, where I feel like your elementary teachers and like sometimes a lot of times middle school teachers, because those can kind of switch back and forth. Yeah. They're great in pedagogy, but they don't always spend that time on science because they either don't know it, they themselves, they don't feel confident in the content, nor do they do they know the curriculum that well. They feel like the kids can't handle the labs, and honestly they're pushed so much towards math and ELA that they don't always have the time. And I don't blame them. I just don't blame them. So you'll have kids that get like an hour of science a week until they get to like 5th grade when they're actually tested on it, right?
It's spot on. I mean, that's what we go through in my district. And by 5th grade, I'm like a math science teacher. So that's what I do. So it's like the first time I want to say the students are exposed to like a scheduled block of science every day. So for them, even it's a little overwhelming because it's like, wow, we're doing a lot of science. But I agree with you. And some of the best teachers I had, like I've always said, when you get to high school with science and social studies, it's a make or break period. Like I loved chemistry, which a lot of people hate, but I had the coolest chemistry teacher in high school.
Makes a huge difference.
So it really does. And yet my social studies teachers were like, your stereotypical, like stodgy, not you, Jeff Kaplan.
I was waiting for it.
You're not stereotypical, but it really was. And so I just didn't have that great of social studies. And my husband laughs at me to this day that I know nothing.
Yeah, I mean,
I hear you back.
It's crazy. And then you miss all those, kids you're already behind the ball at 5th grade, right? Because they don't have a lot of those basic like measurement skills, observation skills. And so by 5th grade, like they kind of need to be able to function as a science student on their own, and they just don't have the skills, and it's not their fault.
Yeah.
And so, I would get to high school, like when I taught high school biology, like these kids don't know what a food web was. And like, I can't get mad at them because it's not their fault. It's like, why am I doing this? Like, I need to be talking about like much more complex ecosystem dynamics. I need to be talking about like predator-prey relationships and carrying capacity and all these other things. And I gotta like sit around and do like, because I can't do. They still have to understand how a food web works to understand how an ecosystem functions. And like it is, and it's frustrating, and it's frustrating for everybody. And science isn't given its due diligence, especially in the elementary grades. And it's not just teachers, it's not just principals. It's just there's a whole host of reasons why that's not necessarily the case.
And they're generalists. I'm trying to.
Yes, they're generalists. Yeah. Yeah, they have to teach all these different things, and like that's 4 preps is a lot, That's a lot, and science might not be their favorite thing, so it might get kind of pushed off to the side.
I'm trying to wrap my head around like if we are remote or even if we're in person, I'm used to having kids working in small groups doing labs, and that's not going to be feasible now. So what's that going to look like? So that's definitely a consideration for I think most science teachers now.
Yeah, it is. We're trying to produce some videos with some folks I've connected with on science Twitter to do some at home sciencey things. So basic things you can like find lying around the house. So like using a piece of plywood as a ground cover to track like snakes and bugs and that sort of thing. Observing birds and being able to collect that data. Things like that, because the reality, I think you're right. Like they're not going to be able to come and do labs in small groups this school year. It's just this is the way that it is.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, this was just so relevant to me because just today our district decided to go all virtual.
Yeah.
To start the year.
Yeah.
Because our numbers in Georgia are spiking, which it's understandable. I mean, that's not what I want to do. I want my kids in my classroom. But so your whole question series was so relevant to me tonight and to so many of my fellow educators. It was awesome.
Yeah, Jeff, any topic, honestly.
Jeff, how much have you been using video prior to? And are you right now, or are you now feeling that you need to for this fall?
That's a great question. I have been using a lot of video, using the grid method.
Were you using it for the content delivery within different, like your learning opportunity boxes, or what were you doing?
In some aspects, I was. In a lot of aspects, I was using it as to reteach, to assess in other ways. So mostly I was using it in that way to find out where students were and to reteach them where they needed to be, especially using like Edpuzzle, which is a great tool. But I use video all the time. I mean, I use Flipgrid a lot.
Yeah.
Great way for me to get my content to my students and then for them to respond to me. So yeah, I use video, I guess, a lot more than I thought I did.
So did tonight give you maybe just some additional ideas and maybe some extra confidence for as you're realizing that you're gonna continue to have to use it a lot? Or what was the really big takeaway for you from tonight's chat?
The big takeaway for me, I guess, was a positive that this is actually a good way to be teaching and a good way to be using one platform to help my students.
Gotcha. Awesome. I don't want to keep everyone too long. We have been live for about 40 minutes here. It's been a good conversation, though, so I don't want to keep it too much, but I want to give Becky, Olivia, Jeff, if you guys have anything else, while we got Chris here live with us, if you want to throw maybe something that came from the chat or just anything that you want to grab and try and soak up as much knowledge as we can from them. I want to give the three of you an opportunity since you're here.
Chris, I had a question about your target audience. So your videos that you put out there, what's that age range that you're really trying to hit?
Yeah, that's a good question.
That is a good question. So we try to hit for middle school, like 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th grade. That's kind of the standards we try to hit as well. I think what's also helpful is that can, if you are a teacher and your students are missing some background knowledge, like, they're less than 10-minute videos for the most part. So they can kind of fill in on that, right? Like they can, they can watch that and not feel like they have to like learn all this material. You can get the talking points and move on. One thing I just thought of, I can't remember which one of you guys had asked about the nature of science. I think it might have been Jeff who asked about it.
There was someone in the comments asked about it.
Someone in the comments, yeah.
It was Van Scott,
so yeah, we did film one in February. It was the Northern Kentucky Science and Engineering Fair. So that was really cool to talk to the kids and like showcase how they had gone through the scientific process. So hopefully that'll give other students a way, like, yeah, you can test things. Like you don't have to, there's that 19-year-old who built a fusion reactor in his garage. Like, okay, that's cool, but like, you don't have to do that. Like there's plenty of stuff you can do. So,
very cool.
But even younger kids, my mother-in-law teaches. She's a reading specialist in Northwest Indiana, and one of her colleagues had said her second graders like loved the frogs episode. They were just kept asking about the frog and are the frogs okay? And yeah.
Nice.
Love it.
Like you're saying, you can fill in the gaps too, right? You can pause because it's a video. You can pause it, fill in the gaps. Have them watch it again. That's the beauty of videos.
Yeah.
Yep. Loving it. So I'm gonna let everyone go. Chris, great chat tonight. Seriously.
Thanks, guys.
Lots of people jumped on afterwards and a lot of comments and it was an active chat. So really appreciate you doing that. If you haven't checked out Chris's episode on the podcast, I can't remember when that was, but it's teachbetter.com/podcast/Chris Anderson. He's on there, so it was a good one. And we talk a lot about the things he has going on as well. So, Chris, best place to connect with you. I've got your Twitter handle going across the bottom here. Is that the best way to keep connected with you? What's the website for?
It's on YouTube. Yeah, it's on YouTube. So, check out. It's just Science Around Cincy, and we've got our own social media handles at Sci Around Cincy.
Okay.
So yeah, we're gonna be sharing more stuff. It's gonna be great. We're excited to share the second season with you guys.
Cool. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome, Chris. Thanks.
At Sci Around Cincy. So, Olivia, Jeff, Becky, thanks for jumping in and hanging out with me for a little bit. Chris, glad you could get on with us and chat with us and just be a part of the chat tonight, man. It was really fun to have you leading us tonight. Everyone who jumped in on the live and commented, thank you for doing that, for being with us. Thanks for being in on chat. We'll be back next week, 8:00 Eastern time. Becky, I should know this, and I don't. Who's on tap next week? Do you know off the top of your head?
No, but I
can bring it up. I can bring it up.
We're returning to Conversations for Change next week.
Yeah, we're gonna have another Conversation for Change next week. Give me a second. I will bring it up as soon as this page loads up for me. I think I know who it is, but I don't want to speak out of time. So next week is Don Harris. Don Harris. We'll bring us Overcoming Obstacles and Implementing Anti-Racism Education in the Classroom.
I kind of know them, but not in the exact order.
Yep. So Don Harris is doing that. So we'll be back next week's 8 o'clock Eastern time over on Twitter, and then we'll be live here as well afterwards, like we always are. So Livia, Becky, Jeff, Chris, thank you. I appreciate all you. Everyone have an awesome
You
night.
guys are all awesome.
Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.